This week on Previews World Weekly, Archie and Captain America turn 80. We unpack your unpopular opinions and discuss what you can expect from Free Comic Book Day 2021. It's all happening right now on Previews World Weekly.
What's up, Previews World? It's Wednesday. It's New Comic Book Day. It's St. Patty's Day. And welcome to Previews World Weekly. Actually, none of us are wearing green. I just realized that.
That's awkward.
That was a very bad fail on our part. Sorry, guys.
All right,
anyway.
I'm going to pop in there right now.
Okay, Johnny's got it. Wait a minute. What?
Are those snowflakes, though?
This is my
This
is my St. Patrick's Day shirt.
That is a Christmas t-shirt.
Are you kidding? Seriously, you've never heard the story of St. Whiskers, who led all the candy canes out of Ireland and turned them into peppermint schnapps? Shame on you. Shame on you for not knowing your Irish history. Johnny Roselle.
That was the best.
I don't know what to do with that.
That was the best Johnny interruption ever. That had every bit of random that you should expect from this show, guys. I'm gonna let you know that right now. And it's but you know what? I don't think it's gonna get any more random than that. That was amazing. Was he wearing that show when we were wearing that shirt when we were in the other room? Before we were recording?
I don't even know. I didn't even bother to notice.
That is amazing. That is absolutely amazing. Hats off to Johnny. Happy St. Patty's Day for those of you that are wearing green today. I'm one of your hosts, George Jeffrey Allen.
Oh, we're doing this. All right. I'm your other host, Ashton Greenwood, a.k.a. the Duchess of Free Comic Book Day, guys. Free Comic Book Day 2021 is a go. It's happening Saturday, August 14th at your local comic shop. Please mark your calendar because it's different than our usual May date. We just revealed a whole slew of things earlier in the week, and we're going to get to that later in the show. But for now, your weekly, aggressive, friendly reminder, August 14th.
Weekly. So, yeah, it's going to get more aggressive the closer and closer we get to the date. I can guarantee you that. So we have a special guest on the show this week. We're inviting people onto the show on the regular just to kind of liven up the show, have some interesting conversations with people in the comic book and nerd community. It's a very vast community, and we have a lot of different people along the way. And Enemy says definitely a Christmas cat sweater.
Okay, yes.
Yes, Johnny's been called out by Enemy. Actually, we're going to talk a little bit about Enemy later in the show. But I want to introduce our guest this week. You okay there, Ashton?
Had a wayward hair.
Oh, okay. I want to introduce our besides Ashton's wayward hair, I want to introduce a guest this week. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to Brian Tillman, a.k.a. the Art of the Kaiser, or I guess I should just call you the Kaiser.
That works. I'll answer to anything.
You.
So, Brian, before we delve into the show, let's talk a little bit about your work. Who are you? Who is your daddy? What does he do?
Well, my father is George Tillman, and he was a special my name is Brian Kaiser Tillman. I do sequential art. I do comics, and I do character designs and video game development. I have a small studio called Kaiser Studio Productions, and we have worked with pretty much every company out there: Marvel, DC, Image, Fox, Miramax, Lucasfilms, and we do a lot of personal projects. And the most recent personal project that I did for the studio was called Dark Legacy, and it is a role-playing trading card game.
Nice.
And self-promoted it, did it myself, took about 3 years after full-time work and everything, and put it out in the market. There was so much demand that I couldn't keep up with it. So I actually pitched it to a bunch of companies, and Upper Deck picked it up, and they put it out in 2018, and it has been global ever since. So
wow.
I'm doing some decent stuff. I'm a teacher, so I'm a professor currently at Montgomery College in Maryland.
Okay.
And I teach illustration and animation at the moment. And on the educational side of things, I've created 2 character design books called Creative Character Design that you can find on anywhere. Anywhere where you can find a book, it's there. And then I created.
So it's in my bathroom?
You know what? It might be.
Could be.
It might be.
Go check.
Okay. I'll go check.
But the last big thing that I would say that I did for at least the art community and education is I created a planner. It's a 3-month planner called the Project Manager Planner, and it is meant for artists to stay on top of deadlines, contacts, daily planning, drawing. It's got a sketchbook in the back, 2 calendars, one for social media and one for, life. So it was me going, I need to take charge of what I'm doing. And I was able to put that together and get it out there to people who really want to, take control of getting their projects done. And I've been selling it at conventions until the world broke. And then that was the end of that.
Well, I appreciate it. That's great. We love artists on this show, Brian. So thank you very much for joining us. I think we'll have a fun conversation during the course of it. Ubaldo Torres says, awesome resume. I agree. Like, what? I invited you onto the show because of your hair, Brian. I didn't even know about all this other stuff.
I'm trying. The bad part is that every time I see someone else, like when I'm on someone else's video, I'm like, oh my goodness, is that gray hair? How much gray do I have going on in here?
Look,
I don't want to be a Q-tip. I don't want to eventually just be a Q-tip. So my wife is like, you can always dye it. I'm like, I'm not that old. We're not there yet.
Yeah, but that's definitely some late life crisis type
right.
Business right there. Like, if you were to dye it, what would you dye it?
I don't know. I think I try something outlandish. Like at that point, when I start dying, I'm going to be coming towards retirement. Yeah. And at that point, I think I'm going to Super Saiyan my hair, just like yellow.
Yes.
I love it. Yep.
Be out there.
I love it. So, Brian, we asked this question of our guests, and so I'm going to ask you the same question. This is a show centrally focused on comic books. We get into all the other different geeks, all the other stuff in the geekosphere, as I like to call it. But I wanted to ask you, how did you get into comic books?
A garage sale, of all things, to be honest. My mom loved to go, garage sale hunting and stuff like that. And I was looking around. I think I had $1 in my pocket at that point. I was pretty young. And I saw this issue of G.I. Joe, the silent issue from Larry Hama.
Oh, man, yeah.
And it was just sitting there. And I was like, this looks kind of cool, and I think I paid like 15 cents for it. And the minute I opened it up and flipped through like 2 pages and it centered on Storm Shadow, I'm like, it's a ninja. And that was it. And after that, I was like, comics, and that was what I was. And my father shared an interest in comics. And so it was just so easy. It was something that we were able to bond over, which was very important because like I mentioned, my father was in the, kind of the Secret Service in the military side. So he was always on deployment. So when he came back, we would look at comics and cartoons, and that's how it started.
All right. I love that. We get a lot of stories I've noticed where it's like, my dad read comics. And so like, I kind of like inherited his comics or, I think that's an element that people don't really realize about the format is like, it actually can be a bonding experience, which is actually fairly interesting. Like I've had conversation with my dad about his perception of Marvel in the 60s versus now, you know what I mean? So I totally understand with it. And I'm totally with you on that. So where can people find you before we move on to what's up comic shops this week? Where can people find you?
So I am on pretty much every social media under the handle Follow the Kaiser. It's super simple, and it's exactly what I want you to do. I do want you to follow it.
That's simple enough. I can tell you actually, so I am following you on YouTube, and I feel like, I don't know how often this happens, but I feel like the best part of like your art tutorials is you and your wife having side conversations in the background.
Yeah. So as what's popped up right now is the art of Kaiser. It's something different, and I think we were going to talk about it, so I'm not going to jump the gun on that. But my wife doesn't like to be on camera, like at all. But she always will come down and start talking. It's like, huh? What? Oh, okay. And it's always funny when she cooks. Like she's like, I made something for you. And I was like, great, give it here. You can't eat on stream. And I was like, but why not? I'm jealous. Like, why not?
Why would you put this in front of my face if that was the case?
Right. I think it was like 2 days ago. She brought in this amazing plate, and I'm just like, look, it was like steak and potatoes, and I was like, look at this. And I broke out the fork and knife, and I'm like, oh, we're gonna. She's like, you can't do that. Don't do that. And I was like, well, stream. I guess that's it. Stream's over. I'm going to go.
There you go, guys. The art of the Kaiser. Definitely follow him. It's going to be equal parts art and equal parts ASMR. So there you go. So we're going to talk a little bit about Justice League and Falcon and Winter Soldier, but you know what? I'm going to push that off to later in the show. So let's get into the comic stuff, right? Let's talk about what's at comic shops. We all have our picks this week, so we're just going to give you some suggestions, and then we'll show you even more of what's available at your local store. Check it out. Hallelujah. It is new comic book day. How about that? It's also free comic book day announcement day, I guess I should say. That's a lot of days, isn't it? But
it is. Free comic book day announcement week.
Announcement week, actually. Yeah. So we're definitely going to have some more announcements for you guys later in the week. Definitely stay tuned to Ashton's, I'm going to call it Ashton's feed, which is at Free Comic Book Day on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, et cetera, et cetera. But in terms of what's in comic shops today, I'm going to start with Ashton. Ashton, what is your big pick this week?
Okay, so I've been trying to make an effort to kind of diversify the things that I'm picking week to week, because I feel like I kind of have a tendency. There's certain things I live and die by, so I'm trying to diversify, pick more titles, spread the love, all of that. So the thing that caught my attention this week was Arrow's Psyche #1 from Ablaze. And initially it was this cover art. I saw it and I was like, oh, is this an Addams Family thing? Because the collar like gave me Wednesday Adam vibes.
Yeah.
And then I read the solicit and I was like, wait, I'm super into this. So it's Bri Maria Yove. I don't want to mess up her last name. Mm-hmm. Okay. Who did the art on Faithless. So you might recognize that as you're flipping through this. She's writing and doing the art on this. And so it's set at this boarding school called La Rosa. It's an all-female, seemingly paradise too good to be true boarding school. Class, right? You already know. Classes that day, like magic, curses, doing spells at night. And it's, like I said, it seems too good to be true. And of course it is. Any sort of insubordination at this boarding school results in either your immediate expulsion or untimely death. So in the midst of all of this, it'll center on these two young women, Sarah and Silji. They're our main characters, and they develop this romantic connection at this school. But of course, it's threatened by the weight of expectations at this school and the looming possibility of death at any time. And also some sort of dark secret society or like underground society. So this gives me like Chilling Adventures of Sabrina meets Dead Poet Society. If any of that is up your alley, this could be super cool. So I'm excited to get my hands on that this week.
Awesome. That's very cool. Now I know that Yove, is that what we agreed on? Yove, yes. I know that she's definitely like the hot new thing, kind of like in comics. Like, you know, I feel like there's always like a couple of artists all at the same time. They're all blowing up, and she's definitely one of them right now. So definitely check that out and get on some cool comics. She also does like a lot of sexy stuff, I've noticed. Like that's her stuff. Yeah. There's always like this. I mean, it's called Eros, so I'm assuming there's like something in it that's kind of sexual, right? My pick this week. You know what? I'm going to fanboy for a second, guys. Look, if you're not a fan of James Stucco, I don't know what your problem is. Like, seriously. Like, he's got a new book out this week. It's super awesome looking. It's a love letter to the Shaw Brothers films that he grew up on, which is immediately right up my alley. So this is called Orphan and the Five Beasts. It's a brand new kung fu epic from James Stucco. And Stucco, if you're not familiar, did books like Orkstein. Probably most popular of his works is a book called Aliens Dead Orbit, which is part of the Aliens franchise. Absolutely gorgeous book. I'll highly recommend it to you guys, especially get the deluxe hardcover so you can really enjoy the artwork. And it's going to be the same thing with this. Like, this is just going to be a phenomenal book, not just for the story, but for the art, of course. It's just highly detailed. Like, look at this. Like, the amount of, like, and I mean, like, it's so easy to kind of forget that comics used to be fully hand-drawn. So, like, for example, you know, now people use digital backgrounds and all this other stuff to kind of, like, make a deadline. Stucco's drawing it all out. Like, he's drawing the mountains in the background. Wow. He's drawing the weapons. He's drawing the bubbles. Like, he's doing all of it. Like, you look at our on our previews page, it says written by James Stucco, art and cover artists by James Stucco, because he does it top to bottom. And it's just a phenomenal looking book. Yeah, like, look at that. So yeah, I'm fanboying. Like, no hard sell here, guys.
Right.
I mean, it's martial arts porn, right? Which is great for me, and it's great artwork, and it's done in a very just detailed, highly skilled way. So definitely check out Orphan and the Five Beasts this week. Just make sure that you save me a copy before it sells out. Okay, Brian, you're our special guest this week. What is your pick? And what are you going to look at? What are you going to pick up at your local comic shop?
I'm like, well, now I'm gonna go pick up Orphan and the Five Beasts. To be honest. That's what I'm gonna go pick up. But I started with G.I. Joe, and I'm gonna probably die with G.I. Joe. The new G.I. Joe book is coming out, and it's like the crescendo of this year-long epic, tale of. I mean, I guess it's not year-long, but I mean, it's been years because G.I. Joe has been around forever, and they're once again trying to topple Cobra, but this is it's a big pillar right now, and I love when great big arcs kind of come together and see how they're gonna keep the story going. And for something like G.I. Joe that has hit like really big pillars, and then they disappear for a while, and then they come back with like Devil's Due, and then they disappear again, and then IDW picks it up, and it's there, and then a movie comes out, and then all the toys disappear, just to see this franchise constantly coming back again and again and again makes me love this IP so much more, because there's so much to it, and having something where they're like, we're coming to the end, there's twists and turns, and everything is, everything that you were hoping for is going to happen, and then we're going to have something that you're not expecting, and then of course ninjas. You can't
go wrong. You can't go wrong with it. That's totally cool.
It's bad because I'll have like my students or my fellow colleagues, they'll just go, hey, I picked this up, and I'm like, oh cool, what is it? I don't know, but it has a ninja in it.
Sold.
And I'm like, all right, cool, give it to me. And
I love it.
Sometimes it is the worst thing that I've ever looked at. But I'm like, oh man, it's gonna go into the stash because it's got a ninja in it.
There you go. You can never do without it. You can never have too many references for ninjas. How about that? No. So, okay, let's talk a little bit more about you, Kaiser. Can I just call you Kaiser, or should I call you Brian?
Whatever makes you happy, man. My students call me Kaiser. They call me Professor Kaiser. It's
okay.
Oh, I love that.
And I'm like, sure, why not?
Well, actually, I'm gonna give it to Ashton. Ashton, you got any questions for Brian, the Kaiser?
Yeah. So the first obvious one is, where did the Kaiser come from? Why did you pick that name?
I did not pick it. That was not me at all.
Oh, really? Interesting.
I know it doesn't show, but I'm German. And so I spent the majority of my life in Germany, or my young life in Germany. And when I went I'm like, I'm going to learn comics because that's what I wanted to do. Comics wasn't really a thing that you studied in Germany. So I had to go to the States to learn that. And so I went to the Savannah College of Art and Design, one of the only 2 colleges at the time that taught sequential art. And I went there, and SCAD's huge, and they do the orientation thing, and they're like, all right, we're going to do a roll call. And it was like, Brian, and like 15 people were like, here. And the teacher was like, yeah, that's going to be a problem. And so they separated everyone out into little groups to do the icebreaker interview type thing. And my person was like, all right, so where are you from? And I'm like, oh, I'm from Germany. And he's like, oh, like Kaiser. And I was like, yes, let's go with that instead of what other people always think about when you say Germany.
Oh no.
Let's stick with
Kaiser. I was like, let's stick with Kaiser. I'm cool with that.
Okay.
And that student introduced me as Kaiser, and I'm like, okay, it's a one shot. That's all that's really going to happen. Then going around through campus, that's how they remembered me. They're like, oh, Kaiser, hey, Kaiser. And I'm like, all right, it'll be a cool little nickname for college. But it cemented itself when my teachers just refused to call me Brian. And they would just be like, Kaiser. I'm like, well, I guess that's me. And then the minute I signed my first assignment with that instead of my name, that's just where that ended up. It's like, I'm a firm believer that you cannot give yourself a nickname.
I respect that. Yeah.
It was bestowed upon me, and I accepted it gladly.
There you go. All right.
That's a good, solid nickname too, though. Like strong.
What's funny is my mom, who is the German, side, She went, "It's a little presumptuous, don't you think?" I was like, I didn't do it. Like, I didn't call myself Kaiser. It just they did. The people did. It's not my fault.
You know what? I'm gonna say this right now. I actually don't know what Kaiser means.
It means emperor.
It means emperor?
Emperor.
Oh, okay. All right. So it's a title. Okay, gotcha.
It's a title,
right.
yeah.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense then. All right, gotcha.
Because through history, it'd be like Kaiser Wilhelm, right? Mm-hmm. So it's Emperor Wilhelm. And so
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Emperor it is.
we shall bow down.
It was like, sure, sounds great.
I mean, hey, we got the Duchess and we got the Emperor, so we're good.
We have a whole kingdom, a whole damn kingdom.
There you go.
All right, so let's go back to the ninjas because I need to know why. What's the obsession? Like, I need this answered.
So my father, being martial, he is a 3rd degree black belt in Taekwondo, Korean Taekwondo.
Oh my God.
He learned it over in Korea, doing knuckle push-ups under a waterfall. The stuff that you see on TV, that was the crazy stuff he was doing when he was growing up. And like I said, special forces, all that kind of good stuff. And so that was a connection. It was martial arts that I always associated with my father. But the first movie that my dad sat me down and took me to was it's bad. It's Ninja 3, The Domination. I love that movie. I love that movie. If you ask me what movie should we watch, I'll be like, we should watch Ninja 3. Okay, and then there's always a disclaimer. It's not really a good movie. At all. Mm-hmm. But it has such a permanent spot in my heart that it tried to combine everything from the 80s. It had martial arts, it had The Exorcist, it had flash dance, it had break-in. It was like Canyon Films were just like, this is what's popular, put it in the movie. Put it in the movie. And what is this movie? And I loved every second of it. It made no sense. The movie made no sense.
Look at that!
But
Wow.
Yes, that movie right there. It introduced me to Shokasuke, the ninja of the 80s. Like if there was a ninja in your movie, it was Shokasuke.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that movie right there cemented my love for ninjas. It's what put in every single one of my projects that wasn't working for Marvel or DC, where I couldn't come up with anything. If there was a way for me to create a character or a team, there was a ninja in there. One way or the other, I always put a ninja in my product. So much so that right now, my current project, my magnum opus, is called Ninja Empire. It's all about ninjas.
All of the ninjas.
All the ninjas. So yeah, I guess it's all related to my dad, mm-hmm. right? And that's pretty much, he introduced me to the ninjas. I wanted as much time as possible with my dad. So here we are, ninjas.
I love it. Ninja 3, a Cinemax classic. Absolutely.
Like that.
It's amazing. And I've bonded with random people like Peter Shinkoda, who played Nobu in the Daredevil movie. Or show. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I met him at a convention. And, I'm not big on talking to celebrities and whatnot, but I was like, he's a ninja. I got to go talk to him. And we fanboyed over Shokasuke and Ninja 3. It was the best thing ever. Best thing.
I feel like that happens a lot, though. There's always some terrible thing that you love, and then you find other people that are also hype about it, and it's just forever. We're bonded by this weird thing.
Yeah, that's a real thing.
Okay, so I want to pivot really quick and talk about your YouTube channel. So tell us about your channel and your road to 1 million subscribers.
So I started a new channel called The Art of the Kaiser. So, that's outside of Follow the Kaiser, but you can go to that one too. Art of the Kaiser on YouTube. And the whole premise of that channel was to see whether or not you can actually do something as an artist. Okay, so I'm the behind the scenes guy as far as art. I've worked with a whole bunch of companies, but you never know, because I'm one of the names in those 5 million names
Mm-hmm.
on credits and stuff. So you never really know that I've been doing stuff. So I can go onto a platform like this where nobody knows me, and I want to see if, posting, how you post, when you post, doing all the tips and tricks that they give for people who are doing like challenge videos or cooking videos. Like, can that pertain to an art channel where all you're doing is art? And I saw recently there was a guy, he did these really outlandish like challenge videos and stuff like that. And he did a 1 million in a year type thing. And I was like, you know what? They can do it all the time, and they do all the time. So I was like, why not try? Right? Let's see. Is it possible? And it's an educational project of mine because I'm showing my students, I'm going, look, can we do this? Can you as an artist, because they're always so shy, like, oh, I don't want to post yet. I'm not
Right,
there's so many people. I'm like, look, if I can do it, right? If I can do it, then you can do it. And right now, knock on wood, it's been 6 weeks since I started this, not the channel. The channel started a month prior, but since the channel started, it was 6 weeks, and I have 501 subscribers, and I haven't really been doing any promotion. So it's been a great ride, and I'm really looking forward to do collaborations and, projects with other people and developing on screen the Ninja Empire. Like, that's one big thing that I really want to show off, is that I'm developing an IP, and you can, with this development, people will be interested. And so I'm really just trying to push the idea of art and just art, and the educational side of, look, if I can do it, you can do it. And like, I'm 40. And so there's a lot of my colleagues who are like, oh man, it's a young man's platform. You can't do anything there. If you're not 18, it's not going to work. I want to try and prove to my fellow colleagues that that's just not true either.
All right. I mean, YouTube's been around for 20 years, so I can't even say it's a young man's platform at this point.
But I mean, that's what they see, because you got someone like Ryan, who's I think now 10, maybe, making multi-million dollars. Ryan's Toy Review, making $1 million. You got other people who are like, I'm 12, and so it's all these young people, or they're 18 or something like that, and so it's just interesting to see that it is a lot of younger people putting in the time and effort to do it. Whereas the older generation's going, I don't want to do all that.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
I'm trying to make a point is pretty much what that boils down.
Well,
hey, that's that's actually an ongoing conversation we have in the marketing department. So I totally understand what you mean by that. Like, that's totally cool. Actually, there was a situation like a couple months back. Well, not a situation, but like I think it was like about a year ago before the pandemic hit, where we were like, these videos, these toy videos with these kids are like really popular. Maybe we should like find a kid.
Let's just get a kid from somewhere.
Just
get a kid. Steal someone's kid.
And have them play with toys or something.
Carter, we need you down here right now. We need to make a video. I'll be great on that, guy.
It'll be great for that. Kaiser, geez. Carter's already been voluntold to participate in videos already for us, so it's all good. Real quick, because I almost forgot about this. We forgot about the toys this week. You mentioned G.I. Joe. There's a ton of new toys out this week, and they're all hitting your local comic shop. So here's Anna Mia, and she's going to show you what's available at your local comic shop in the toy department. I'm sorry, this is Natasha, and she's going to show you what's at your local comic shop in the toy section. Then we come back, we're going to talk about Mortal Kombat. All right.
Hey, Previews World, Natasha here, and I'm going to give you a look at some of the new toys and collectibles in stores today. Here's this week's Previous Toy Chest. That's not all. Before heading to your local comic shop, be sure to check out PREVIEWSworld.com/new releases. There you'll find a complete rundown of everything a toy collector could possibly want.
And you know what? Actually, I'm going to underline that point. Like, before you head to your local comic shop, check out PREVIEWSworld.com new releases. And I'm going to tell you why. I love Cowboy Bebop. I saw that Spike Spiegel that came out this week. I had actually purchased another Spike Spiegel months ago. And this one's cheaper, but it looks just as good. So there's a lesson there, guys. Go to PREVIEWSworld.com/new releases and make sure that you're looking ahead at, like, what's coming to your local comic shop so that you don't overpay for stuff. You can get them at your local comic shop and get something cool, just as cool. I accidentally said Mia because I was actually going to reference something that we're going to be doing tomorrow. But first, I want to talk to you about Mortal Kombat. So the last couple of videos, Brian, that you've done have been Mortal Kombat focused. Is it safe to assume that you're excited about the movie?
Yeah. That is like there's no question in that. Someone was like, hey, I was teaching when they released it, and they're like, hey, did you see the new Mortal Kombat? I'm like, nope, stop everything, let's watch it. And it opened up and it was Sub-Zero. I'm like, I'm good, I don't care. It opened up the right way, so let's go.
Matters. That's
and
it.
That trailer was amazing, and I'm like, yeah, and I only have to wait like a month.
Yeah, right.
Great. It's on HBO Max. I will purchase HBO Max just for that movie.
No, the promotional blitz is happening right now. Like, it's going down. Like, actually, we've been fortunate enough to get an exclusive. And so if you guys go to PREVIEWSworld.com tomorrow, we're going to have an exclusive interview conducted by Anamia, where she gets to talk with the directors of the movie. And then on top of that, she's going to show us a little bit of an unboxing of some of the swag she got because she participated in this exclusive interview. The studio gives you stuff, and so you get to see all these cool things. And so, yeah, definitely check that out. That's going to be going down tomorrow, Thursday, on our website, PREVIEWSworld.com. And it's like a couple of minute snippets, but like some nice insight into the Mortal Kombat movie. And so, yeah, and as you can see right here, this is Mia showing off on Instagram, showing out. But look at that swag, though.
Ooh.
Like, look at that. That's pretty cool.
The packaging is nice.
Yeah, right? And it's got a little mini arcade, too. I love that. A Sub-Zero Ice Sphere. So, yeah. Definitely check that out tomorrow. We're going to give you guys some exclusive content behind the Mortal Kombat movie. And also got to point out, Diamond Select Toys, because we were just showing toys. Diamond Select Toys has the Mortal Kombat license. So they're doing a lot of classic Mortal Kombat action figures right now that are available at your local comic shops. So definitely check that out. Real quick, let's see, where are we? Okay, we're at 34 minutes. I'm gonna jump ahead to news real quick. We're gonna dive into the news portion of the show. Ashton, you're one of your favorites, right? Is turning 80. How do you feel about this?
I'm very excited about it. I'm incredibly hyped. They have Archie. So we're talking about Archie, guys.
Yes.
Archie has like a ton of stuff planned for this 80th anniversary. Not the least of which is their free comic book day book is actually part of all of this hootenanny blowout. I'm excited about it. I think one of the things I love most about Archie is that he's timeless, even though he's, the way he's looked has changed over time and the kind of stories they're telling. Ultimately, like, it's the same thing that you can kind of pick up an Archie story and know what to expect. There's going to be the Betty and Veronica thing. There's going to be Jughead being apathetic about something, Archie doing something dumb. Like, you can kind of find comfort in all of these things, that they can stay the same and yet still manage to be relevant with the times. I don't know if I said anything valuable. I just gave you my opinion on Archie.
No. I knew you wanted to sound off on this. I knew you'd be excited about it. I'm glad you plugged the free comic book day book because, as Ashton pointed out, there's going to be a lot of Archie 80th anniversary stuff happening this year. First of all, there's Everything's Archie #1. Now, I don't know if you guys remember this. Everything's Archie was an old school comic that they used to produce on the regular, and so they're bringing it back with a new #1 one shot. And what Archie is promising here is a mix of new trends and pop culture fads while retaining a timeless aesthetic. Archie Comics Hallmark anniversary continues this June in an all-new one-shot comic celebrating Archie's 80th anniversary. Archie Everything's Archie #1 by Fred Van Lente and artist Dan Parent presents an all-new story told in the traditional Archie Comics art style. That perfect treat for longtime fans and new readers. Van Lente makes his Archie Comics debut, and veteran Archie artist Dan Parent, who is celebrating his 35th year with the company, which is nuts, will be joined by longtime collaborators, inker Bob Smith, colorist Glenn Whitmore, and letterer Jack Morelli on the first of this series of classic-styled one-shot comics. So this is all part of the 80th anniversary celebration. Now, if you're not an Archie fan, there's probably a good chance that you might also be a Marvel. If you are an Archie fan, there's a good chance you might be a Marvel fan, right? Everybody loves Marvel these days, right? So here's the deal, right? Another old timer is celebrating his 80th anniversary, and that is Captain America, right?
Why is he an old timer?
He's an old timer. He just is, So check this out. There's a book called "The United States of Captain America" dropped this week. You probably saw some of the news bits about it earlier in the week. This is coming out in June. But you can pre-order now. And so Marvel's saying that, hey, Steve Rogers, John Walker, Bucky Barnes, Sam Wilson, in honor of the iconic hero, Captain America, his 80th anniversary, these 4 heroes who have taken up the mantle of Captain America will team up this June in a brand new limited series, The United States of Captain America. This is written by Christopher Cantwell with art by Dale Eaglesham. I'm going to tell you right now, Dale Eaglesham's art is phenomenal. And so he is perfect for Captain America. This is exactly the guy you want on the Captain America comic book. But one of the big news bits this past week is in the United States of Captain America. While Cantwell and Eaglesham will be joined by a diverse lineup of all-star talent to introduce different shield bearers and expand on their origins and motivations and thrilling backup tales. There's one story by Joshua Trujillo inside the United States of Captain America, and it's with artist Jan Balzolda that's going to introduce for Pride Month an LGBTQ plus Captain America, who has been inspired by, of course, Steve Rogers and all the other people that have worn the cowl, and is doing his part to make a difference. And he's who stepped up to protect fellow runaways and the unhoused. So yeah, some interesting stuff, some cool stuff to look forward to in the next couple of months. And of course, this is just one of several 80th anniversaries for Captain America and Archie coming to your local comic shop. So definitely ask them, hey, can I pre-order this? Because they'll say yes, and you can. So there it is. All right, Free Comic Book Day. Let's jump back into this real quick. Ashton was nice enough to put together a video of all the free comic book titles that are Free Comic Book Day titles that are going to be available this year at your local comic shop. So I'm going to give it over to past Ashton, and she's going to show us everything that's coming to your local comic shop for Free Comic Book Day this year. Check it out.
Comic book fans, Ashton here for Free Comic Book Day. Free Comic Book Day 2021 is taking place on Saturday, August 14th. That's right, it's a little different from our usual date, so be sure to mark your calendars for this year's celebration. It's bound to be one of our best yet, especially since it's our landmark 20th anniversary. For our anniversary, we have an incredible lineup of comics you can get absolutely free at your participating local comic shop. So, let's start by looking at our 12 gold sponsor titles. Those were the 12 gold sponsor comics available at all participating comic shops on Free Comic Book Day. But that's not all. There are plenty more comic books you can pick up for free on Free Comic Book Day. So let's take a look at the silver sponsor titles. So there you have it. The 12 gold sponsor titles, together with the 39 silver sponsor titles, make up the 51 comic books you can get absolutely free on Saturday, August 14th for Free Comic Book Day. Be sure to head over to freecomicbookday.com for more info on all of the books and to find a participating comic shop near you. Until then, I'm Ashton, and I'll see you on Free Comic Book Day.
Items available to you, coming to your local comic shop. Oh, was I muted? Okay, I was muted. Ashton, you want to give them the rundown real quick? Say it for them one more time when they can get these comics.
Yes, definitely. So at your local comic shop, participating local comic shops across the U.S. and around the world, Saturday, August 14th. It's the second Saturday in August. Mark your calendar. This was, like we said in the video, and Troy said, this is all of the comics that will be available. There's 50 titles total. We also announced this week all of the exclusive collectibles that'll be a part of the event as well. There's a cool G.I. Joe Mini-Mates box set from DST, some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles action figures from Playmates, and some pin sets and a couple other things. So that's really exciting. And then tomorrow we'll be announcing our commemorative artist who has designed a special t-shirt and poster for us for the 20th anniversary. And this is a comic book creator that is a fan favorite. He is beloved. So I'm super excited to announce that to you guys tomorrow. Keep an eye on the Free Comic Book Day Facebook, Twitter, Instagram to find out who that will be. And it'll be coming around 11 a.m. Eastern time.
All right, cool. Now, I can tell you guys right now, look, like, I think when they told us who they wanted to get for the commemorative shirt, my reaction was like, oh, can we do that? Are we allowed to go that big? Like, are we allowed to swing for the fences that hard? Okay, all right, fine. So you guys will not be disappointed. I'll just say that much. All right, unpopular opinions time, right? You ready, Brian? You ready to burn the internet down?
Yep, let's do it.
All right, Ashton, it's all you. Unpopular opinions.
I disagree.
All right, this is my favorite segment we do because I really love a good incendiary hot take. So let's see what you guys are mad about this time. We asked you to give us your hot takes. Sorry, I should have set this up better. We asked you to give us your hot takes, your nerd opinion that is something you know for a fact you're alone in. You upset your friends with this opinion, and we want to know what it is. Will said, okay, I pronounce it Magneto with a short E. Why?
Well, he explains.
Magnetes. Magneto. He pronounces it Magneto.
Right.
Miss me with that.
I love his explanation.
I'm going to jump in here and co-sign that because for years, that's the way I pronounced it.
Oh, yeah?
I have no idea what was pronounced Magneto until the X-Men animated series. And I'm like, have I been saying this all wrong all along? What kind of world do I live in? I've been living a lie.
But I mean, Magneto just kind of rolls off your tongue.
It does. Yeah.
Magneto is just like, sounds like a bad 90s superhero.
Right, yeah. Like, it kind of sounds a little bit lamer that way, right?
Right.
Right. It's like not as sinister.
Not
the correct
like,
term is just wrong.
Right. The master of magnetism who's like a mutant terrorist. Like, that doesn't sound like Magneto. Magneto doesn't sound the same,
No.
Zach says the Fantastic Four should be left in the past when they were groundbreaking. Now they're just here. That's it.
Oh, boo, Zach. Get out of here.
Christian says, I think Ben Affleck was a great Batman.
I'm with you, Christian.
I disagree.
I'm with him
too.
What? Oh,
Yeah, no, you know what, though? I thought he was a good Bruce Wayne.
Okay.
Like, I thought he played Bruce Wayne really good, but then I was like, oh, no. And it's Ben Affleck. I'm just like, no.
Couldn't get past it.
No, just no.
Yeah, I think I had that experience too.
Really?
Wow. Okay. Thank you so much. This whole time I've been like, I dislike Ben Affleck as Batman, but I could never figure out what it was. And I think now it's just that it was Ben Affleck.
I mean, there are certain people you're just like, really? Like, that's who you picked? And as soon as they announced Ben Affleck, I'm like, really? And I had these nerd conversations with a lot of people, and I was like, Bruce Wayne, I got you. Ben Affleck all day.
Yeah,
sure,
100%.
Not a problem. I don't see him being Batman. Like,
Wow.
period.
Okay. Wow. Okay, well, we will find out this Thursday if that was just a fluke or not. Ken Easter says he was a good Batman. Can't wait for tomorrow. JL, baby. I'm with you on that, Ken. I'm excited. Brian's like, nope. Ashton is so savage on Ben Affleck. I loved him.
Like, look, all right, listen, Jose, listen. Look.
I love the call out, Jose. Thank you.
I don't dislike Ben Affleck. I think he is a good actor. I've liked him in a lot of other things. He was a weird selection as Batman for me. It felt really like I also felt like he was weird in the suit. Like, and I get that the bat suit has been like a long gestating issue, but he felt like stiff in the bat suit, and that didn't help his case. I don't know. It just wasn't a good fit.
But well, actually, here, let me ask you. You watched Justice League, right? You didn't watch Batman vs Superman.
You're asking me?
Yeah.
Who are you asking?
I'm asking you that.
Unfortunately, I watched Justice League. Yeah.
Okay, but you haven't seen Batman vs Superman. I know what you mean about the costume. That's because of the nonsense, the chicanery that went on with the Justice League production. Because a lot of those Ben Affleck scenes when he's in costume were shot after he thought he was done, and he just was like, "I'm dropping all this weight. I'm just going to let it loose, drink some beer on the beach, and call it a day." But they still tried to make it work, and it was like, no, he had to work out for that, guys. You just can't just throw him back in the costume. Joselle says, "I'm poking fun. I thought I was shell shocked when they chose him, but I mean Edward is Batman now." No, Edward. Oh, I mean, Edward's Batman. He's talking about the Twilight dude, right? Got it.
I have a lot of feelings about that, but I also see that Johnny's in the comments like, let's keep it pushing. I got 400 opinions on Robert Pattinson as Batman. Chris says Guy Gardner is the only true Green Lantern for Sector 2014.
I mean, I like Guy Gardner.
Yeah.
But.
Okay. Garrett says, I miss when Quesada was in charge.
Ooh, that is actually a hot take. There's a lot of people throwing dirt on Quesada's name in retrospect. So, I mean, honestly, I got into comics again because of Joe Quesada. Like his whole Marvel. I should put this out. I'm interviewing Jimmy Palmiotti on Friday. And the Marvel Knights rebrand and what him and Quesada did and Bill Jenis, all those guys, got me back into superhero comics, and also comics as a whole, not to mention the Vertigo stuff. So I'm kind of with you on that. Yeah, I like Quesada. Yeah. So okay. Oh, sorry, that was the comic shop shout out. We jumped ahead for a second. My bad. Johnny's just telling us to move on. So Brian,
yes,
you ready? What's your hot take? What's this unpopular opinion?
Batman is Gotham's true villain. Period.
Wow. Oh man, we only got 9 minutes to unpack this. This is rough.
But I mean, okay, so think about it. Just hear me out on this one, right? So the man is billed as the person who can solve anything with time and planning. Right. How has he not solved the fact that he cannot keep these people locked up? How has he not solved the fact to minimize just petty crime, poverty? None of that should exist in Gotham. It should be like a utopia because of Batman. I firmly believe that Batman is the crime lord, and all of the other people are trying to be the crime lord, and that's why they fight each other.
Okay. All right. You know what? I just finished saying the other day that I am a fan of Batman being wrong. My favorite stories are when Alfred calls him out and Robin calls him out, and he's kind of forced to just kind of sit in the corner and think about what he's done. So I mean, I'm with you on that. I'm going to be clear. I don't co-sign the people that call Batman an outright fascist. I think that's just going too far.
Oh God.
But I will say that yes, Bruce Wayne has an issue, definitely has psychological issues, and he is part of the problem in some way. Yeah. But I think good Batman stories kind of unpack that. We've seen that in comics before, where they explore that a little bit. So, Ken Easter says, "Oh, I would agree with that." He actually brought more craziness. Yeah. I mean, a matter of fact, isn't it the Dark Knight that mentions the whole escalation thing of Batman shows up, so then someone else has to show up to outdo him, and et cetera, et cetera. And that's how you get the Joker. Right. So
yeah.
I just to be honest, I would love for them to try and tackle that, You know, like, oh, he comes to the realization that he is the problem. You know, because who goes into your team? Who goes into your team and goes, I can kill every single one of you? And I know.
You talk about Tower of Babel. That's literally my favorite Justice League story.
Oh, it was great. Oh, it was absolutely. I loved it.
It was absolutely great.
But I was like, at the end, I was like, that's amazing. Like that. Yes, that's how you should roll. And then I came back to it and was like, oh my goodness, that's horrible.
Going like, nothing is more motivating than the threat of death. That'll get you going.
That'll get you going. There you go. No, I'm with you. Okay, I'm with you. I see where you're coming from with that. I think there's a line, but I see where you're coming from with that. Right. Absolutely. Ashton, you had some strong feelings on Ben Affleck. Do you feel any particular way about Batman being part of the problem?
Do you know what? Something that Brian said though that I thought was interesting is the whole thing about like he can figure any problem with like the enough time for planning and like developing his resources and all of that. Most of like his larger issues though are like the Joker's not coming in like, hey, I'm gonna do this thing in like 4 weeks from now, so like get ready. So I mean, if he needs planning time, a reactionary superhero is probably not the best hero for Gotham at all in that instance. So it would figure that he is part of the problem.
Right. No, I've never been a fan of. I kind of feel like the Batman needs prep time thing at this point is just like is a troll in itself. Like whenever people mention that, I'm like, okay, like nobody actually believes this. It's just a joke at this point that we kind of like thrust onto every conversation that involves superheroes. But I don't know. All right. Okay, cool. Hey guys, let us know. Oh, what Johnny's saying in the chat, all you have to do is throw some broken pearls at Batman and he'll just stop and start crying. It'll just start crying. That's mean, Johnny. That's mean.
On that note, I just real quick, have you guys seen the Instagram pictures and stuff? It was a couple of years ago and they still pop up. Is the ultimate cosplay of the mom and dad, and they go to every Batman and then just lie on the ground.
Yes.
I have seen that. Yes.
So rough.
My second favorite
and perfect.
It is. My second favorite one is actually you'll get the cosplayers who dress like Spider-Man and then they lay out Uncle Ben's rice on the floor in front of them. They're like, So there you go.
Man.
So, all right, we shut it down. There you go. That's a great way to end. All right, we're down to 4 minutes. Ashton, can you give us a comic shop shout out so we can walk out of here?
Yeah, I can give you a comic shop shout out. This week's comic shop shout out goes to Fanfare Comics in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and it comes from T. Shout out to T. And he says they're friendly, helpful staff, great stock on comics, trades, games, toys, and everything you could want. If you want us to shout out your comic book store on the show, find us on social media, tag your shop. If they don't have a handle, just leave their name. Also use the hashtag #SupportYourLCS. We will find your post. We will shout them out on the show and give your shop some love.
All right, perfect. Absolutely. And Brian, one more time for the people in the back, where can they find you?
Follow the Kaiser on all social platforms. And yes, I do want you to follow me.
There you go. That is a mandate, guys. It sells itself. There you go. I mentioned earlier I have an interview with Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Connor on Friday. So definitely tune into that. That's going to be at 3 p.m. Johnny, am I right on that? No, it's going to be at 1 p.m.
1 p.m.
Yeah, it's going to be at 1 p.m. on Friday. This is why we have Johnny, because he can back me up on stuff. Or tell me I'm absolutely wrong. But yeah, it's going to be Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Connor. They're both going to be putting out this Red Sonja series called Invincible Red Sonja. Amanda's not drawing this one. An artist named Mortat is. But it's going to be an interesting conversation about their relationship with Red Sonja. This is, of course, not the first time Amanda's done Red Sonja. And we're also going to talk about some of the career highlights. If you see our post on social media that's like promoting it, we're also going to ask you guys to provide some questions. We've already got some really good ones. So if you want to ask Jimmy and Amanda about any aspect of their career, they've worked together and apart on a number of projects, drop it in the comment when you see that post, and we'll suss it out and figure out which ones we're going to use for the interview. There's a new catalog next week. I just want to remind you guys, new previews catalog dropping on Wednesday, so definitely keep an eye out for that. And we'll have an announcement on Friday with some of the details about what's inside. And more Free Comic Book Day announcements. As Ashton pointed out, there's going to be one tomorrow. There's going to be a big reveal, superstar artist reveal that I will not give away. I'll just hold off until tomorrow. And last but not least, like, follow, subscribe. Like, follow, subscribe to the Kaiser. Like, follow, subscribe to PREVIEWSworld. And be sure to share. Just because, like Brian pointed out, look, it's tough in them internet streets, guys.
Yeah.
And we need your support. So yeah, show us some love. If you're enjoying these conversations, even if you're hating them. Hate like something. Hate follow. Because we know that's a thing on the internet. People love to hate follow, hate subscribe, and like just so they can say something mean in the comments. You know what? We'll take it. Why not? And that's it this week for PREVIEWSworld Weekly, guys. Thank you again, Brian. And hey, I'm Troy Jeffrey Allen.
I'm Ashton Greenwood.
And we will see you guys at the Spinner Rack. Catch you next time.
Don't forget that you can catch PREVIEWSworld Weekly streaming live every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific at PREVIEWSworld on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.